What's good, everyone? Quick tutorial here. A little bit of a cleanup session on an edit. Don't have to clean up too much. It's always nice when your subject, uh, you know, really puts on the outfit, really puts on the concept. So that's why we use mood boards as well, so we can make sure we have this lined up and just a dream come true when we really get the composition right. So really, really like this photo here. We're gonna go ahead and zoom through it. So really, I'm just gonna take you through my workflow here. So typically, we're just going to duplicate this layer. We're just going to go in here, do some simple cleanup. If you have your keyboard on a caps lock, it will do this little arrow thing here. So you got to hit that caps lock to see what we're doing here. Honestly, there isn't really too much that we got going on here, especially outdoor photo. Like, I'm not even trying to do that too much, right? I'm not trying to do too much because I really wanted to make it look natural. A lot of the reason I like to do outdoor flash anyway, less having to work with different lighting, which obviously a lot of people know is just an expensive type of hobby, photography, especially if you're doing indoor studio beauty work as well. So anytime I can get outside, but the problem is I do live in Florida. I live in Tampa, so you know it's summertime. So we try to get out there early. I think this is a 10 a.m. shoot, 10:30 a.m. So we were trying to get in and out. And your boy was sweating bullets. But luckily, she did her makeup very well, or she just has great skin in general. She's great to work with as well. Very communicative, which I always appreciate in a subject or a model or anyone that's really that I'm getting, to dedicate their time as well. I understand that my time isn't the most important, right? We have to be empathetic about that, but also to communicate through the process, which is, it's pretty rare. So it's appreciated from this subject here, but she came through. She looked great. Obviously, you could see the set. She's got some dope overalls here. These are Adidas overalls, which are fire, and this bright pink is nice. I thought originally it's going to overwhelm with this background, this place called Crate up in Wesley Chapel. I really thought it was going to overwhelm it with the graffiti on her jumpsuit, but I really thought it fit in well with the colors. I know one's going to be like more of kind of a voltish neon kind of theme, and then you have more of a standard, RGB type of kind of rainbow color in the background. But somehow with the palm trees and the bright blue sky, especially with the scrunchie as well, it all kind of works here to kind of be simplistic but still loud. I like to do a lot of bright, vibrant color. Typically, I don't even really try to go that way, but when I end up looking at most of my photos in my portfolio, they seem to be pretty vibrant. Again, I try not to make them too vibrant. I remember when I first started out 5-10 years ago, I was really over editing the crap out of things. And that's when I just had Adobe Photoshop like on my phone. My brother got me my first camera, and I would go around the city and just do urban photography or whoever would want to shoot with me, and I would edit like 80 photos, bro. Like it was way too much, but it got me a lot of good work, and I was overdoing the crap out of it. But obviously, when you're first getting going, the whole point is to kind of just do as much as you can, right? Eventually you'll get better if you keep doing the same thing. So that's part of the reason I'm doing, a little bit of editing with the people here. That way you can, I don't know how many videos I watch on YouTube, and I'm like, man, if I could just watch somebody kind of do a step-by-step and you don't have to do the same exact thing as I do, right? Because I'm about to use like frequency separation here. A lot of people are not really trying to do that. To me, if it's not a beauty shop in the studio, like I'm not going to do too much micro dodge and burn and clone stamp, to be honest with you. I'm really going to keep this simple. Some people like to use like Affinity AI. Eventually I'll get into that as I'm becoming more busy. I picked up the market here in Tampa a little bit. It got a little bit of momentum. So I'm working a lot. I got a lot of edits to get through. So if that's the case with you as well, and you just need to get a little bit of something out here and there, like look at this. We're pretty good. Like we don't need much, right? Like we go from here All right, just a little bit. We ain't gotta do too much, right? All right, so we back it up. I think we're good to go. I mean, you could take a look at the strands of hair and stuff too, but again, again, this is like OD. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like it's a lot. So unless it's crazy, like I'm not even trying to really touch that. Especially if it's outdoors. If it's again, if it's a studio beauty or studio beauty, a studio beauty shoot, then I get it. Then you would go into a little detail there, but I'm not gonna take away stuff like little scars, little scars on her hand or like little birthmarks that she might have. Like I'm not dealing away with any of that stuff. We're gonna try to keep it as natural as we can. So, as I speak about keeping it natural, and then naturally, my next step is frequency separation, which to me, a lot of people say this is almost like this will make it look a little fake. I just figured out the optical snoot, and that just keeps coming up. I accidentally put that as a part of my recording for my frequency separation. At least it was on a tab, but this is how it comes out for me. Let me put this back and then put it over top my background layer, and I go in here. These are actions that I already made from scratch. Shout out to oh man, how? But these are some actions that I already made. Shout out to Stretch Life out of Tallahassee about his too. But I use mine more often because I gotta be honest with you. Micro dodge and burn is tough. I think that's the next step. That's like the level up as far as skin is concerned. But again, if I'm doing it quick, we're gonna make it do what it do. So we're gonna get this frequency separation. We're gonna come here. I gotta go ahead and take the view off the high frequency. Everything's gonna look pretty blurry here. That's what you want. This is like Gaussian blur, but again, I already made the action, so it's pretty quick. And all I do here is I'm just gonna soften up, right? I'm just gonna soften everything up. So this is just like light work, right? It's gonna look a little crazy at first, like you're gonna be like, oh man, that looks fake. But the thing about this is like it doesn't have to stay looking like this, right? It's like you could change the opacity so you can make the effect more or less, right? Sometimes you only need like a little bit of this. So that would probably end up being the case. Like it's not gonna be at 100% opacity. It's probably gonna be around somewhere like 35 to 45%. But you'll obviously see the result there. So even if I just did this and, I peeped that. So, some people would argue that it's going to take the definition out of, the arms or the face. Again, you could just go up here and you could just change the opacity, right? It doesn't have to be the whole thing. You can put it like 47%. You can still get a soft look, but you can still get the definition, right? But for me, I'm taking off this. Let me go back here. Let me make sure this opacity is 100 too before I trip out. But boom, boom. Let me go back. And I'm just going to start here on the face. And what I forgot to mention is like if you see any white areas or like from browns to darker browns or from like palish skin or fairer skin, pardon me, to a little bit more tan skin, for less pigmented people. You could always, like, you want to make sure you're blending, right? This is a mixer tool. So this is going to mix the colors of whatever is near that I'm sampling, right? So right here is right here. Obviously, there's a little bit of red here. So I just want to take my finger off the mouse and then reapply it, right? And then I'm going to keep doing that like around the edges. So eventually, like, these colors will mix. I don't want it to, like, override. So if I, like, take red here, right? If I take this red and then I just come over here, like it's gonna make this more red. So you want to stay in the areas, right? If it's white, then you want to kind of paint like the white area around it. But you're constantly just kind of picking your mouse up and letting it go. A lot of people like you use like a Wacom tablet. I've really tried it. Shout out to Stretch Life again. I actually won a contest where he sent me a free one, but I'm just so used to this now with my keyboard on my laptop that like it's not even, I don't even feel comfortable on that thing. It might even be more efficient, to be honest with you, but your boy got his method. And sometimes you do mess up, like I did across the chin. The chin's a little bit harder than most, right? But you really want to get under the eyes because I don't love to do all this stuff you need to do for like removing wrinkles and stuff. So like this tends to help for that as well, at least from my experience. Again, this is all stuff that I'm saying that may be helpful to you in some way. It's like religion, right? No, I'm not going to talk about religion. But no, this may be helpful for you just for a few tips. This is kind of how I do it. Again, this is not how I say everyone else should do it. Because look at this, I'm dragging a white there, right? So if I run it back, all right, if I run the Z back, you know what I mean? Let's see. I don't want to spread this white too far. I want to leave it in this area. I almost want to smooth that out a little. Again, I got to take my finger on and off throughout this process. I'm constantly taking it on and off, just painting around like the same, even the shadows, right? So the shadows got to stay shadowy, fam. I can't bring out like the parts that are lit by the sun into the shadow, then it's not going to look like shadows anymore. You know what I mean? So that's the whole thing about like frequency separation for me, is to like keep the colors in order so they can blend well, so it looks realistic, you know, as realistic as frequency separation can, right? So if I hit it with that sauce, right? So we're looking like this, right? So what does this look like? Boom, all right? And we're right here, and we just soften that a little bit. Again, if you feel like that looks like it's too fake, you feel me? If you're like, I don't know, like that's kind of crazy, you know what I mean? Like that looks almost too fake, bro. Just go ahead, soften it up, and now you can get to 60. We're not gonna do 66 because that's the devil's number, but we can do 61, right? You still get a little bit of softness, and you still get the definition of the cheeks, right? I might even lower that even still, 58%. Boom. Good to go there. And then you're done with frequency separation. There are times where I'll go ahead and do dodge and burn at this point. But again, like her makeup's pretty good. I like her face pretty naturally as it is. Again, that would be more of like a studio beauty shot type of thing, which is again why I don't love beauty shots. The studio, I'm just getting a hang of that because I was like missing that. I was buying the snoot and shit, and then now I don't even have to buy the snoot. I can just create it in Photoshop, which is nice, with a variety of different things. But I'll make a video of that as well. But it's a frequency separation here. From here, honestly, I'd do dodge and burn if I needed to, but I don't need to. So all I'm going to do from here, let me see, is hit it with the hue. So I just want to give my color a little boost. There's so many colors in here, I'm not going to do it individually. I'm just not going to do it. So I'm just going to hit it with the saucer tint. It ain't even got to be that much because, again, most of my stuff is pretty colorful, and the scene itself is already like super colorful. So we ain't got to do too much. We'll put that on 5. We can turn the brightness up a little bit because the sun is out, so you may want to make that look more realistic. But again, these are very subtle changes. I just want to light her up just a little bit. Right? Do I even need to? Sometimes I'll just go in here and try things. Like, just because I click on something doesn't mean I have to use it, right? I just want to see what it looks like. I'm one of those people that, like, if I go internet shopping for clothes or something and there's, like, 80 different pages of T-shirts, I have to look at 80 pages of T-shirts. Because what if the one on, like, page 78 was, like, the most fire shirt, you know, that I could have got, you know what I mean? And I settled. That's a problem of mine. We won't get into that. But I do the same thing with grocery shopping. I got to go every hour. I got a list. You know what I mean? What are we doing? We're just finding a way to spend more money, apparently. For shit I don't need, most likely. But, you know, I don't even really need any exposure. So I gave that a shot, and you could just delete it. And I'm like, all right, cool. So, like, what else do I need? At this point, for me, like, the image is almost done. I'm not even taking much out of the background, but I will take little small things out of it, like that, in which I would use generative fill. And I just hit period or background, I might say, something like that. So I might do a little bit of that. And there, that is gone just like that. Boom, 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 boom. I don't like these little specks on the ground. So this is like little cleanup, you know what I mean? But the image is pretty much done. So This is a very quick session. I'd like to knock these out pretty quickly. If I wasn't explaining it, it'd probably be like 10 minutes. I'm trying to pop these out pretty quickly here, just for customer satisfaction. Because like when you start to get people the photos like quicker than you tell them to, right? You don't want to put pressure on yourself, especially if you got a lot going on. I mean, I got a full-time job, and I do this on the side. I can't be unrealistic and be like, I'll get you your results in 48 hours. I'll be like, look, I'll get you the raw files you could choose from in the next 24 hours. And then from there, 7 business days. And then if you happen to get those photos done before 7 business days, that's a win on both sides. Like, they're going to be impressive regardless. You know what I mean? Like, err on the side of caution. Like, I have other things to do, and things might come up. All right, I might not be able to edit 5 photos in a day. Again, I have a full-time job, so just give yourself a little bit of leeway there. But yeah, I like to just do it pretty smooth here. Looks like everything's done. I could remove these. Look, I could do something like this, right? And I could just hit background. Let me just see what this even looks like, because I might genuinely give this a shot, but I don't really want to, because in my other photos, I already took down the actual sign. So I feel like I have to be consistent, and then leave or take the sign out, but it was just a pain in the ass. So I don't really want to. I wonder. I don't know. I might do that, and then hold on. Now I got a decision to make, because it does make it look a little bit more clean, just overall, right? I wish her head was on the other side, because I just don't want the sign to take away from her. But I'll make that as an executive decision in a second here. But if I take that away, see if I want to, I mean, if that's not in the way, how much cleaner does that look? I actually don't mind. Let me see. Did I leave them in the other photos? It looks like I left them in the other photos. Okay, so I'm leaving them. All right, and then boom, and then I export as. Getting better. I like to resize my photos in Adobe Photoshop, or not Photoshop, but Adobe Lightroom, because it lets you do it by ratio. I don't really know how to do that here. I just know 4,000 by 6,000 works best on my website for web view, and the best quality there. So that's what I put here. So I go ahead, I hit that, and then I hit the bicubic sharpener, hit that with some sauce, and then I mess around, hit export eventually. Computer's being slow, y'all. Bear with me. So boom, boom, I hit it, and then we're good to go. But this is the process, typically of my usual workflow for outdoor flash photography. So follow me on visual.diction on Instagram and Facebook as well. And we'll see you next time with some more tips. Appreciate y'all.